Damn, I need a haircut. All right, listen. On my channel, we get straight to the content. So listen, man. Latest episode just dropped of Joe Budden's podcast on YouTube, right? This is for JPP fans. JBP fans. Joe Budden podcast fans. If you're not fans of the JPP, you might not understand what's about to happen right now, right? What I'm about to talk about right now. Man. This Marc Lamont Hill experience, disgusting activity. Not going to lie to you, bro. Now, granted, the podcast starts off with Queenz foot. If you're not familiar with my content, go watch the other videos. Appreciate it. You got Queenz Flip being a coon. So he's talking about his daughter, and his daughter's in class, and she felt like the professor or the teacher was using the term Negro too long. Talking about the Negro Leagues, right? Queenz Flip goes into one of the most awkward anti-Black American rants I heard in a long time, bro. You gotta know the podcast. Now, granted, I used to listen to and watch Queenz Flip's other content. Didn't really know he was a coon like that. But if you watch the Joe Budden's podcast, he's a big coon, bro. Super anti-Black American. I'm not going to lie, right? But I'm used to that, and I commented on that on other videos. And if you're watching this, you already know he's a coon, right? So then we get into the weekly Marc Lamont Hill, Queenz Flip banter. Yo, I'm so tired. Like, no one asked for this matchup ever, bro. I'm so tired of it. You thought when they had to fight, it would stop. But what happens is, and I'm just going to speak frankly, Marc Lamont Hill does a lot of bitch-ass stuff. He does a lot of microaggression stuff. He does a lot of sneak dissing stuff. He does a lot of derogatory comment type stuff. He just has negative energy. And I hate to come off sounding like I'm defending Queenz Flip because I'm not. But Marc Lamont Hill is cancerous as hell, bro. He always has a snarky remark towards someone on the cast. And Marc Lamont Hill is probably the last person that should be having a snarky remark. Now, granted, because of this podcast, we know he was in a cult. So just from him being in a cult, he should probably shut up, right? If you're not familiar with Marc Lamont Hill being in the cult, go do your research. Treacherous activity, right? So then Marc Lamont Hill, Joe Budden talks about it, and the cast is talking about it. He goes and interviews Brian McKnight's family, right? Now, Brian McKnight is having beef with his family. It's a mess. I'm not going to lie, right? But I'm a fan of the Joe Budden's podcast. The content is going to cook, whether we cover Brian McKnight or not. So this Brian McKnight versus Marc Lamont Hill is a complete waste of time. Because Marc Lamont Hill, through the podcast we know, you're the last one to talk about someone's family. Now, first of all, Marc Lamont Hill, you talk about, oh, my family this and my family that. And black love this and black love that and black families this. My boy, your wife not even black. That's number one. Number two, you gotta listen to the podcast consistently to know Marc Lamont Hill has spoken about his kids' first language not even being English, right? Marc Lamont Hill, you so pro-black, your kid's first language isn't even English. Why are you talking to Brian McKnight's kid? Talk to your own kid. He got to pick up the lingo. He got to pick up the language. That's number two. Number three. Now, the podcast, they drop little crumbs all the time, right? And even today, they drop the crumb, right? Marc Lamont Hill's son is bad as hell. Badass young boy, right? They go into a talk about what you turn your kid in, and Joe Budden does a joke, but you got to remember, especially when it comes to the Joe Budden podcast, it's a lot of truth told in a joke. So Joe kind of tells Marc Lamont Hill, hey, you better be ready for that because your kid wild. Marc Lamont Hill like, my kid is wild. Nigga, what? Go beat his ass or go discipline him. How you talking to other people family and other people family members and you got a badass son and you a whole black dad? What are you doing, bro? I'm so tired of this bull Marc Lamont Hill. Now, granted, I'm not more tired of Marc Lamont Hill than I am Melissa Ford. Melissa Ford had no substance. Marc Lamont Hill, he can carry on a conversation. He can like talk about topics and stuff like that, right? But this little banter with Queenz Flip, who's a coon, and then like even like his little side quest that he go on where he has banter with like Ish. It's just like, yo, Marc Lamont Hill, bro. I don't know how you think we view you. We don't view you like that, my boy. We kind of, a lot of us, it's a big demographic of the JBP community that view you as doofy, bro. Listen, I'm not trying to be toxic. You don't come off like a man's man. And all this banter with Queenz Flip, this shit is ass for the podcast. It's a waste of the time. You keep talking about, oh, the Wednesday show and this show and this show. Bro, shut up. Real fans, we listening to all the content for the most part, bro. And I say for the most part, because when Joe not there, a lot of us, a big segment of the podcast listeners are not listening to it. Marc Lamont Hill is goofy, bro. He's doofy as hell. Now, he has the perfect opponent with Queenz Flip. Because Queenz Flip is a coon, and he's doofy, and he's a culture vulture. I couldn't believe Queenz Flip was talking about the Negro Leagues like that. Boy, shout out to my Jamaicans, but it's Jamaicans like Queenz Flip that make you want to go at them like that. Because he be talking about Black Americans like we ain't shit. Meanwhile, the whole time, same thing as DJ Academics, he's making a living off black culture. So Marc Lamont Hill picked the right opponent. But Marc Lamont Hill is doofy as hell. Go raise your little badass little son that don't speak English. Why are you... Yo. Now, I don't have the numbers on this, right? I'm going to say a huge demographic of people don't care. Literally don't give a fuck what's going on with Brian McKnight, bro. So Marc Lamont Hill is trying to use this to get views. And listen, I'm not sitting here to say I get a lot of views. I'm vibing with y'all. Marc Lamont Hill has been doing this for mad years. He's trying to get views. You chasing views, feuding with Brian McKnight, bro. This shit is dumb. This shit is toxic. This shit is silly. If you check out my other content, I've been tired of Marc Lamont Hill. But now it's like he trying to draw viewers to his YouTube channel or his Patreon. And he's doing it by talking to Brian McKnight's family, bro. Who cares about his family, bro? I'm here to tell you. Brian McKnight is a great artist. Love some of his songs. Why are you trying to beef with him? Even if he toxic as hell, why is that the hill you trying to die on, beefing with Brian McKnight? And the whole time, you got a badass little boy that don't even speak English. This is crazy time. I talked about it in another video. This is that separation with that black intellect people where they speak like they better than you. And then as you learn more about them, they lower than you. They just trying to hold a college education above your head. Marc Lamont Hill ain't better than me. He ain't better than you. He ain't better than none of that. But he will conduct himself like he's better and smarter. He's not. So he's really good at picking his opponents. Because the way he talked to Queenz Flip, why he don't act like, and I didn't watch multiple clips, why he don't act like that on the Piers Morgan show with them folks? Talk about it. Hold on, y'all. That energy he got for everybody on the cast, especially Queenz Flip. Why he don't pop it like that on the Piers Morgan show? See, Queenz Flip is a coon, but that's coon activity, bro. You picking and choosing your battles, bro. And like I said, I don't respect Marc Lamont Hill. I don't give a fuck about dude. He got a fan base, intellect people. I could give a fuck about them either. Because when stuff hit the fan, they not going to do nothing but try to talk to you with a book. I don't know, man. I know it's a large demographic of people tired of it like me, but we got to understand and we got to why is this happening? Why is Joe allowing this? Who's allowing this? Listen, I love Joe Budden. Shout out to Joe Buttons, bro. He didn't help folks get through exercises, work days, and all that, right? Who is allowing them to continue that banter? Do y'all feel like Ian in the back telling Joe to let that go? Because like I said, you got to remember, if y'all not in tune with what's going on with America, you got to do your research, right? So it's a group of people that have a bad rap right now, right? It is what it is. They got a bad rap. Is Ian telling Joe to let Marc Lamont Hill get his stuff off so Ian could position himself to be on CNN, to be on MSNBC, to be on Democracy Now? Is he positioning himself by using Marc Lamont Hill to speak favorably of a certain group? Hold up, y'all. Did y'all hear what I said? Is Ian telling Joe to allow Marc Lamont Hill to act like this? Because Marc Lamont Hill has access to things like CNN, MSNBC, Piers Morgan. So Ian can go on the show so he can promote a certain group that right now is not in a favorable position in America. I'm telling you now, that's a conspiracy theory, but it just doesn't make sense why we are subjected to Queenz flip and Marc Lamont Hill banter. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I'm out.